forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. Nick Mohammed.
Hey, Rob. We were going to talk about Roald and Beatrix, which is the show you alluded to, off air, and you said, no, let's save it. Because it's gold.
It's gold.
It's gold. It's the first time that we'd worked together. Had I met you before then?
I think I'd come across you. I think we'd met.
I think I'd said a little hello to you at some event.
Well, let's clear it up. We did Roald and Beatrix. Lovely, gorgeous, brilliant Dawn French played Beatrix Potter.
Who you had presumably worked with before, had you not?
No, but she and I, to say we hit the ground running is an understatement. We were sharing our deepest, darkest secrets.
Really?
Within minutes, we just hit it off.
She was absolutely, I mean, bear in mind, I'm a fan, well, of both of yous, but I mean, goodness me, I grew up watching French and Saunders, and she was so adorable and so wonderful and so brilliant and so generous with her time. And
always a thrill for me, all the way through it. Oh, I'm working with Dawn French. I really liked that.
Yeah. Well, it was an absolute joy. I just remember it, and it looked great. And it was like a Sky Christmas movie, wasn't it?
Right,
and it
probably
came out in 2021, I think.
It's a lovely film. I live in Strawberry Hill, in between Twickenham and Teddington, not far from Richmond.
True.
A town that has lost its identity.
To Ted Lasso.
To Ted bloody Lasso.
Well, I think when I saw that, had Ted Lasso come out by then? No, probably.
Yes, it had.
Had it come out by then? Maybe series 1 had come out.
Must have done.
Yeah, maybe only season 1, like when we're filming it.
Really? Why?
Well,
how long has Ted Lasso been around?
It came out during the season 1 came out in the first lockdown, like the first major lockdown in the summer of 2020.
Oh.
And so I think we then probably filmed that around autumn.
That's right, we did, yes. Yeah.
And so yeah, season 1 had been out, but it was a bit of a sleeper hit in the UK because not as many people had Apple TV at the time. I think it was sort of a bit of an instant hit in the States, maybe. So it wasn't a big thing. But we were living. My point is, we were living in Richmond, as in we'd been living there since 2014, and then and we only moved house a couple of years ago. Moved out of Richmond, and it just became weird because it looked like I was hanging out there on purpose. Trying to, what's Nate doing around there? Trying to get spotted. But genuinely, it was, and it is, and we'll still visit there. We've got friends there, and we'll go to the shops there and stuff. And it is weird.
That never happens. You never shoot a thing in the place where you actually live.
No,
you're
never.
Walking around.
I'm so lucky.
Doesn't David Attenborough live up there?
He does. I shouldn't say the name of the road, but he does.
No, don't say the name of the road. But
but it's lovely, and it looks like. I mean, I don't know if it's definitely. I mean, everyone says that's where he lives. It's a bit of an urban myth, but I think he does because I once saw him in Vodafone. And I hope this isn't libelous, but I think that he was trying to find out if it was possible to call someone and it not show up, his number not show up.
Hey, Nick, all right, steady on. Where are you going with that?
I don't know. That's what I overheard. I just was so...
I'd like to be able to make a call.
Without anyone knowing.
The other person not knowing who it is.
It feels like if I was David Attenborough, I wouldn't want people having my number left, right and centre.
No, I wouldn't. Have you seen him walking around?
No, I only ever saw him in Vodafone that time. Honestly, it's true. And then anyway, but his garden is just gorgeous. It looks like a jungle.
Yeah.
Like it's
orangutans
like,
in there.
No, but it does. It's like palms. There's palms and everything.
Lemurs.
And I don't know if that was like for show or whether that was just someone taking the mix saying, oh yeah, that's where David Attenborough. And it's not. It's like quite an exotic garden. So it becomes a fun idea. Is that where he lives? But yeah, he did live there. And I think his brother, R.I.P., used to live in Richmond.
He lived down on the Green, which is far more Ted Lasso central, isn't it?
Ted Lassoville, yeah.
He used to live. Now, when he was alive, Richard Attenborough, I would see him being chauffeured around in, from memory, a green, either a Bentley or a Rolls.
Wow.
And I think the number plate was something like R.A. and then, I don't know, whatever.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark.
Yeah.
That's great.
Can you have an exclamation mark on it? No, you
I
can't.
don't think you can. Where do you stand on personalised number plates?
Hate them. Would never do it. And I only realised that apparently it's more expensive. The fewer letters you have, the more expensive it is. I mean, it's who I don't think there's anybody I know. This is when you reveal that you've got one. But I don't think there's anybody who I know who I respect has got a personalised number plate.
So you wouldn't want to buy my R0B then? You're not.
I feel like it's a hell of a statement, isn't it?
What are you into, Nick Mohammed?
Magic, music, And
The magic of music?
that, yeah.
The music within magic?
Space. I like space.
The final frontier?
Well, no. Space is in like space.
What,
Like,
to have a bit of space around you?
The Apollo program.
The Apollo
Yeah,
program.
that's
All
no,
right.
we've narrowed it down.
Okay.
But cars, not as into.
Magic. You are?
I am a magician, I guess.
When did you
Well, that's when
that?
I first started. But I got into that. Have I not bored you with this story already?
Oh, if you have, I've blanked it out.
It was that bad. I got into magic like when I was 4. From like the Paul Daniels, like watching the Paul Daniels Magic Show when I was growing up.
And how does that manifest itself at 4? Do you learn tricks at 4?
Yeah, you get my sister had a Paul Daniels Magic set and she was 7 or 8 and I just loved it and I just sort of just took it basically and just became obsessed with it. And I've got like, my mum's got like books like when I was at primary school, just me drawing pictures of me as a magician. And I just used to love doing it. I mean, it was clearly a defense mechanism to sort of, survive the playground, sort of have.
Were you targeted?
Magic. Not targeted, but I was small and not white. So I kind of, it was definitely, I stood out.
Where were you growing up?
Leeds. And so I don't get me wrong, I had a lovely childhood and loved school actually, but it was definitely a way to kind of get through things as growing up. But I loved it and then did it, joined the sort of junior section of the Northern Magic Circle and then had like some magic lessons. I loved it. It was like my everything. And I used to work as a professional magician for years and, did it through university to kind of pay my way a bit before acting and comedy.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah,
well, my next question has to be, have you got any tricks with you?
I wish I did, but if somebody's got a deck of cards,
oddly enough, no, we haven't.
No, I'm so sorry. I didn't. You know what?
How strange would it be for you to go, yeah, I always carry one.
Or you've got more than one deck. You could
do a trick with an ordinary deck of cards.
Oh yeah. I love it, and still, even though I obviously don't perform it as much now, certainly not kind of doing kind of gigs at weddings and stuff. But I used to always kind of have cards on me, and and I still read about magic probably every day or every other day. Like have books like magic stuff. And
if I were to give you a normal deck of cards,
yes,
could you do a trick with that instantly, or would you have to turn your back for a moment and do something to the cards?
Oh no, instantly. But I wouldn't say that makes me special. I think a lot of magicians would be able to do an impromptu card trick. I think.
Well, here's the thing then.
Whether it's good or not.
Just imagine you've got, just talk us through, not telling us how it's done, just talk us through. So you have a deck of cards. What happens then?
So I would get you could shuffle them.
So let's just say I would. We are doing it. Okay, so give me the cards.
Okay, there you go.
Right.
Have you got?
I'm shuffling them.
Yeah.
I'm not a good shuffler, but I'll take my time.
That's fine.
Okay, I've shuffled the cards.
So I would take the cards back probably.
Not I would. You are doing it. We're doing it now.
Oh, we're doing it. We're actually going to do it. Okay,
right.
fair enough. Okay.
There are the cards.
I'm taking the cards, and I'm gonna present them to you, and I'm gonna turn away, and I'm gonna get you to take anyone, anyone at all.
I've taken a card.
You've got it, yeah. And do you want to change your mind? Are you happy with that?
I'm happy with this.
Okay, thank you. And I'd just get you to put it back wherever you like. And I'd give them a little mix, and I'd offer them to you if you want to mix them as well. And I'd try and turn away just to make sure it's very fair.
Okay.
And then it can go one of several ways.
Right.
As in, I would then often, my favourite thing to do, certainly when I was doing like close-up gigs, would be to get the cards back and to say...
Well, hang on, I'm giving them back to you. Let's do it. It's not what you would do. We are doing it.
Okay, well, I would say...
Get it into your head.
I would say, I think your card is maybe sort of red, possibly a high card, and then I would kind of go through and I'd take out like the Queen of Diamonds, King of Hearts, Jack of Diamonds, and the Queen of Diamonds or something. And I'd show you those 4 and I'd say, was it that one? And you'd say, no.
Yeah.
And I'd pop that on there and I'd say, was it that one? And you'd say, no, that one, that one, and I'd say, And I'd say, but it was like a high red card. And you would say, no, it wasn't.
No.
And then I'd say, that's strange. And I'd get you to point to one of these.
One of the cards
that are still on the table. One of the 4.
One of those high ones. Okay.
Which are now face down.
Because I'm pressed that one.
So you'd go for that one. I'd get the other ones and I'd show them. So it wasn't one of those. And then I'd say, what was the card that you chose?
It was the 3 of clubs.
Oh,
3 of spades? How the hell do you know that?
Well, I thought, yeah. And then you would turn it over. Yeah. Yes. And it would be the 3 of spades.
But how did you know I was thinking of...
Well, there you go. But I love it. It's my absolute passion.
We're not moving on. Quite seriously,
yes,
that was what I was thinking of.
Well, there you go.
But how did you work that out?
I can't go into the details, Rob. I'd get chucked out of the magic circle.
It's astonishing.
I'm glad you enjoyed that, and I'm glad that worked. But I love it. But I absolutely adore it, and it's been like that since I've got that
Never
feeling.
mind that. We know you love it.
But
Hold on.
I'm trying to connect it to that feeling of wonder that you have. That kind of like moment when it clicks and the thing works. It's that wonder.
Did you make me think of the Three of Spades?
Possibly,
but how on earth could you do that?
Well, quite, yeah. But it's that feeling of wonder, that kind of, which I think takes a person, an adult, anyone at any age, back to child. That thing when anything could be possible,
true.
and that's why magic,
good
magic, when it's not tacky and arrogant or anything like that. That's why good magic can get you, and it's why it still performs for millennia.
It takes you back to the sense of wonder.
It's that suspension of disbelief, and it's that moment, and it's called the moment of wonder, like within kind of magic. But it's that very specific moment. It's like the punchline of a joke, I guess, but it's that thing that it's that release. But it's a very personal thing.
Can I keep that deck?
You can keep the whole deck, and you can keep that.
Wow. Thank you. I'm going to show it to my wife.
Do. I hope it works.
Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Expand.
This is a show. So I play a character called Mr. Swallow, who you might have been aware of, which I've been doing since I first did it at Footlights, actually. But it's an impression of a school teacher I had in Leeds. So and it's a she. She would just tell like that. So it's quite camp, but it's more just because I'm sort of playing her, but I just never really referenced that. But yeah, so he does these shows where he sort of does these like mini musicals. And in the past, I've done one where he's playing Dracula, one where I sort of told the life of Houdini, and I did some sort of magic in that. And then the most recent one, which was at Soho Theatre a couple of years ago, was A Christmas Carol. And the setup is usually the same. He's trying to put on this production, but he's not really quite prepared. And everyone else is sort of trying to sort of G him along.
So it's there's a cast. It's not a one-man
Yes, exactly.
show.
So there's a cast: David Elms, Kieran Hodgson, and then this time around in Christmas Carolish, Martha Howe Douglas from Ghost, who's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
We're very lucky to have. But it's transferring to the West End, so it's going to be at Soho Place this year from the 16th of November until New Year's Eve.
That's that
fantastic
new
NIMAX theatre, right on the
Yeah.
crossroads where Tottenham Court Road and Charing Cross Road
Yeah.
are. So yeah, we are absolutely thrilled, overwhelmed, excited. We start rehearsals in a couple of weeks, started singing lessons already. So it's an all singing, all dancing musical, but it's bigger than anything I've ever done. But I love it and I can't wait. And we're so lucky.
Have you written the songs as well?
I've written the lyrics. I've written the book and the lyrics. And then my friend Ollie Birch, who was in the Durham Review, has written all the music, and he's written some brilliant music before for like National Theatre and stuff, and he's just a legend.
So you're doing that. I won't do it. You're doing the voice all the way through.
All the way through, yeah.
Well, that puts quite a bit of strain, doesn't it?
It does, but I mean, it's very natural for me to sort of be up there. Like, it doesn't feel like a strain. But when it's that really tricky thing, though, because actually to sing in that voice, it can be annoying. It's sort of like, Joe Pasquale. It feels quite,
Not that Joe is annoying.
No, I don't mean it like that. But, he does this sort of song little get, he acknowledges that, right? So, but it's that thing of I think if you're, you don't want it to be unpleasant for the audience, but equally you've got to stay in character. So we have had a lot of conversation about when I actually sing, that it actually probably is slightly more like my voice, or when it needs to be more musical theatre-y than it can be.
So other than being based on the teacher, how would you describe Mr. Swallow?
Just this sort of know-it-all, just boisterous, just sort of the loudest voice and the worst person in the room to sort of take charge of anything. Master, like jack of all trades, master of none, kind of delusions of grandeur, thinks that, it's the part of the joke is that he's got a West End shirt. I mean, he's very end of the pier, and is not used to kind of this level of sort of, being on the stage, basically, in front of all, and somehow just manages to kind of pull it off, basically. That's always the sting in the tail, is that actually you think that he's not going to be good at the thing that he's going to do, and actually he manages to pull it off.
Talk about the BAFTAs on the roller skates.
Oh my God.
You had balls of steel.
Were you there, Rob?
No.
Oh my goodness! So in Show Pony, which is a tour, the Mr. Swallow tour I'm doing, which is not till next spring, I do like a whole 15-minute bit where I've got slides which I just pulled from iPlayer of me doing it and the reactions from the audience, which is actually, I don't know if you've ever done it. It's a really fascinating thing to do, to rewatch back a performance of something where there's cameras in the audience, and because I can sort of get away with it as Swallow, because it's Swallow breaking down his own performance, but really it's me talking about my experience of going on unannounced as Mr. Swallow in front of Christopher Nolan, Emma Stone,
for
Ryan
people that weren't lucky enough to see this.
It is online.
Talk us through it.
So BAFTA
in their wisdom.
In their brilliant wisdom, and I love BAFTA and I'm a member of BAFTA, but they had
We
seen...
all adore BAFTA. We all adore them. There's some super people there. They really are.
Maybe the producers of the BAFTA Film Awards had come to see The Last Swallow show and had really enjoyed it. And they were like, we want to involve you in some capacity as Mr. Swallow. And I was like, wow, that's weird. TV awards, a breeze. Film awards, very serious. And no one there would know of or care about. And also, they're not there to laugh. No. They are so not there to laugh. It is the most self-serious event in the history of mankind.
Very difficult audience.
The people there, but to the point that's why I wanted to do it. It was the idea of doing it. It was like a prank. So then we kind of come up with the idea, well, what if I go on halfway through the night as like a sort of a motivational speaker type to sort of G everyone up and then do some sort of silly housekeeping announcements. But the thing is, because literally the person who had just been on, who'd been like won a BAFTA, and it's such a huge thing for someone to win a BAFTA. Of course it is, and particularly a film award. I can't remember the name of the actress, but she's brilliant, and she was making a really impassioned, really serious speech about like representation of Black women in cinema. It was like phenomenal. It was maybe Davine Randolph Joy, I think it was. And then it was like literally David Tennant, and please welcome Mr. Swallow. And then I literally come skating on roller skate. I'm on roller skates.
So why roller skates?
Well, just because I do it on roller skates sometimes. And the last tour was on roller skates. So I skate on, literally Prince William's security team. And I think for a split second thought it was an assassination attempt. It was so shocking. And they're all like, and I can see them all, of course. And they were like that. And the thing is, I'm doing it a bad set. Like for the first 30 seconds, it was like, oh my God, is this absolute career suicide? And then I made a joke about, like an industry-ish joke about everyone thinking I'm South Asian. And then it happened because they were forced to laugh because they had to. and then it was fine. And I was only doing like 2-3 minutes, but it was just that it was so surreal. And I love talking, and I go in more detail about it in the show, but it was just shockingly fun. Like, it was just mad.
I'm curious as to why Prince William's security would have thought that if someone were to, God forbid, make an attempt like that they would be on roller skates.
Quick, speed, I don't know. Speed of which... And I skated on really, like, a lot faster than I'd planned to. It's just nerves. And it's a really shiny floor. Like, it's like the shiniest floor in town.
So I'm going to go back and watch it now. So that entrance, you're going quicker than you want to.
Oh, and it probably looks slow on camera, but really fast. And I have to, like, hit a spot as well. And I can't crash into the left. There's nothing to hold. There's nothing to stop me. I have to literally do a circle to stop. Oh, man, it was just... It was so thrilling.
Are you starting to move into film? What have you been doing?
Yes, a little. Yes, I have done 2 films this year.
Which ones?
One film called Deep Cover with Bryce Dallas Howard and Orlando Bloom, which is, I mean, it's mad, and we're the 3 leads in it. And by goodness, did I learn so much from them, because they're like movie
What did
stars.
You learn from them?
Well, that stuff, right. Really. I mean, they're the most wonderful people. Like, so. I mean, and Bryce in particular. And look, Bryce is a phenomenal actor and director in her own right, but of course her dad is Ron Howard as well. So she's sort of been living that kind of, you know, the world of film and television since she was born, right? And actually was so aware, kind of technically, of kind of what was. I was like, oh my God! And she had all these brilliant technical tricks as an actor to sort of do. For kind of crying, for kind of becoming present in a scene. And I was like, oh my, and because I didn't go to drama school or anything, so you didn't go, did you? I don't say that as if that's... You did. Clearly you did.
Of course I did.
Of course you did, darling. Anyway, Brian, am I ever going to pull it back? Don't think so.
Well, that's all we have time for. It's been a pleasure. To speak to Mick
Mohammed.
Mick Mohammed, yeah.
Anyway, she just had all this technical stuff, but quite specific to film as well, and Orlando as well. They've just worked on film sets and just, you know, and also it was the first lead role that I'd done in quite a big film. I think it's out I know it's on. It's going to be on. It's one of the Amazon MGM films, and so it'll be out, I think, towards the end of this year. But we're doing an Amazon event in October for it to promote it. But
so that's the one. What's the other one?
Control with James McAvoy and Julianne Moore, which was really fun.
Did you see his Cyrano de Bergerac?
Yes,
thing?
I did.
Wasn't that one of the best things you've ever seen on the stage?
But also, he's just like. He's so like a chameleon. Like he is a phenomenal actor.
He's a real talent.
He was just honestly the nicest, and that was shot in Germany. But yeah, it was just really fun.
Is this something that Nick wants to do now to move over into the movies?
Weirdly, it was filmed in Germany, but it's set in America.
Is that something that Nick wants to do now, to move into movies?
I'd never been to America until I went to the Emmys. Not even on holiday.
Darling.
Mad.
Darling, that's good though, isn't it?
That feels like a flex, doesn't it? Like a boast. But it's just true.
You're in show business.
But it's
wow,
true.
That's fantastic.
But bearing in mind, so nothing, and I hadn't even flown long haul since I did a play in Sydney, which was like in 2009 or something. So I went, and bearing in mind it's on Apple, right? So I was like, I'd never flown first class in my life, and like to the Emmys. And it was pandemic-y still. It was very much like, it was very sort of, no one had been traveling really. So it all felt like, and none of us had been doing promo for Ted Lasso. And all of us, to be fair, had been quite sheltered from the success of it. Because as I said at the start, it was a relatively sleeper hit over here.
So you go to the Emmys.
So anyway, go to the Emmys. And that was brilliant.
Who did you spot?
Oh, God. And this was for season 1. This was the season 1 nominations. So I'm trying to think who was nominated out of it. So I was nominated, Jason, Hannah, Brett, do you know maybe? And Jeremy, Brendan. In fact, loads of us had been nominated and the show had been nominated. Yeah, yeah. So we were kind of like the new kids in town. Yeah. So we were like, so people wanted to come over. So like there was, all of the, and we were kind of up against like Hacks and Only Murders and all those great shows.
Who did you spot? I want names.
Oh, God.
Did you spot Steve Martin? Was he there for Only Murders?
You know what? I actually tell a lie. I think Only Murders was maybe the year after, but I did see Steve Martin the year after. He started off as a magician.
I know that.
I mean, I have got stories, but I don't know if there's time to.
Well, there was. I would say that a podcast talking about yourself is the perfect opportunity to tell your entertaining stories.
Well, I don't know. I just don't want to like land anyone in it, but I feel like.
I don't want to hear about somebody cheating on their wife.
Oh,
but
no,
I mean,
no. I don't mean anyone like within. I just mean like people. People who I recognised, who I thought were being a bit diva.
Oh, we'd love that.
No, I'm not going to name anyone because they've actually since got into trouble publicly for being like a diva. And I remember then texting the WhatsApp group saying, "Yeah, well, they've got their come up."
Okay, tell me afterwards.
That was season 2. I will tell you afterwards. Yeah. But no, it was just amazing. Who came over?
Yeah, that was the question I asked about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
we've got someone. Patrick Stewart. Thank you.
Is it William H. Macy?
Yes, it is.
He came over.
Yes.
And these are people who came over, like Michaela Cole, who I know, who was up for I Think I May Destroy You. Just all the kind of the Hacks lot, like Gene Smart.
Oh, wow.
Like Catherine O'Hara, like the Schitt's Creek lot, all there.
Was Eugene Levy there?
Yeah, they were all there. Yeah. In fact, I think that was their last year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe season 5 we were up against them. We also arrived a bit late. We were right at the back of the queue. And like, people have to understand that like, it might look glamorous. It's a lot of queuing to just go in. And people having their photo taken, like, unless you're really up there, you're queuing. It's like going on a roller coaster ride. Like, you're right at the back of the queue. So we're all like, kind of like there like this, in the blazing sunshine.
Yes.
And anyway, then we kind of got towards the front, and then they were like, "Oh, it's about to start, and they're announcing your category first, so you need to come in right now." And so we were all rushed to our seats, and it was literally the first 2 categories were outstanding actor, supporting actor in a comedy, the actor and actress, and Hannah got hers.
Yes,
and we were like, "Ah!" And then it was the one that I was up for. Brett got it. And we're like, yeah. And then it was like, oh, we can relax. And I was like, oh,
you were up against Brett.
Yes, yeah. I mean, 4 of us were, and we all knew that Brett was going to get it. I think me, Jeremy, Brendan were up against Brett, and I was like, oh God, I'm starving. I can't wait for them to bring out the food. Turns out they don't serve food, and it's a very long night. But they did have a little sort of cardboard box of charcuterie, which I sort of devoured and probably
Yeah.
smelt for the rest of the night. And then we went to a place called Mother Wolf,
Right.
which was a fancy Italian restaurant, which
Yeah.
Apple have their party at.
Yeah.
And that was really nice. And the food
What
was really good
happens there?
Just more eating and drinking. But I only lasted like half an hour, and then I had to sort of go home, sleep, and get on a plane.
And that was it.
That was it. Whistle stop tour.
There's more Ted Lasso coming. Are you in it? That's been announced. Yes, it has.
Rob, it's not been announced.
It has.
There was like some official leak, sure.
I thought it was announced.
Nah.
I was with.
No one has dared speak about it.
It was in the paper.
Oh yeah, it's always in the paper. Who were you with?
I thought I was with James Lance.
Oh yeah, I saw James the other week.
I thought it had been announced. It was announced like that. Oh, okay. Well, if it hasn't.
Well, look.
Is this awkward? We can cut this out if
No.
it is awkward.
No. There are rumblings.
Oh, there are rumblings,
There are
are there?
rumblings.
Do you ever see The Bounty with Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson?
Oh, a while
and
ago.
he says, William, there are rumblings. And he goes, oh, William, not sir, not captain. There are rumblings, are there? Oh, I'm doing Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, yeah. I got that.
You?
It's like Welsh in there.
Yeah, I went to drama school, you see,
With
the best of intentions.
yeah. I genuinely think I need to go. Honestly.
I think it's too late.
I don't know if it is too late.
I think whatever you're doing is working.
I just feel like just a little bit of training might have helped. And actually, even doing an American accent, that's taken me ages. And I went to like a proper accent because I don't know about you. I mean, you're obviously so phenomenal at voices, but you know, I definitely picked up on regional accents sort of growing up, and you know, doing sketches and in Footlights and stuff like that. I would definitely do voices as part of the stuff I did.
Mm.
And then you start doing small telly-comedies and you sort of say, yeah, I might just do this Scottish. And I remember like sort of the Scottish producer going, whereabouts? And I was like, Glenfiddich. I just sort of just named
Glenfiddich.
just make up. and then you sort of think, oh yeah, I can do an American accent. And then you realize you absolutely can't. And that if you're going to audition for something that's American or in American, you absolutely have to get it right. And
are any of these movies you doing American in?
The one with James McAvoy is American, yeah.
Give it to us.
Well, I'll tell you, the first film I did, and this is in 2014, I filmed it. Nina Gold, brilliant casting director Nina Gold, had come to see me do Mr. Swallow, the Dracula one. And I don't think she'd been sent by my agent or anything. I think just her son was a Mr. Swallow fan or something like that. So she'd kind of come along and I enjoyed it, which was really nice. So then I got a casting to go for The Martian, the Ridley Scott film, The Martian. And I was like, okay, this is sort of, and it's American, and it's like there's a wry sense of humor to some of it, but it wasn't, it wasn't like big and camp, which is sort of my go-to. And I thought, oh crikey, so I, had proper accent like lessons for it. And one of the lines I had to say was, it won't exactly be an Algonquin round table of snappy repartee. And I learnt it phonetically, like absolutely phonetically, so that I could try and just sort of not worry about it when I got to set. And then literally we were about to film that scene, and Ridley Scott, which feels like a huge name drop, but he was directing it, came up and was just before they called action, was like, oh, just improvise. And I was like, can't improvise in an American accent. I just can't, because I have to know it. I mean, maybe I can a little bit more now, but
So what did you do?
I think I said, it won't exactly be an Algonquin round table of snappy repartee, right? I think I just put one word on it.
Your rounded R is what's selling that. That's really nice.
But see, I feel that you can do it instinctively, and I just have never been able. I can't do an Irish accent. I can say two things in an Irish accent,
which are
Weetabix and shredded wheat.
That's like a northern.
Yeah, that's Belfast.
Or Belfast.
Yeah. Weetabix.
Weetabix.
Yeah.
Weetabix.
Yeah.
American accents.
Matt Horn taught me that.
Oh, did he? Did he?
Yeah. That was because one of my first ever filming jobs was with Matt Horn.
What did you do? What did you do with Matt?
It was a thing called Billy Goat that Jeremy Dyson had written, like a drama of like a fairy tale that Bernard Hill, R.I.P. Was the lead in. And me, Paul Nichols, and Matt Horn played like a boy band.
And so you won't confirm or deny whether there'll be more Ted Lasso? Because according to you, it's not been announced.
There was an article in Deadline which said that like certain options have been extended and there's rumours, but it's all rumblings. It's not like there's nothing concrete, and no one has come out, least of all Jason, who it would all ride on, saying, we're definitely doing it. But look, it was set up for there possibly to be more, but whether it's in the same universe, whether it can happen or not.
You heard it here first, maybe. We've been talking to Nick Mohammed.
It's been so nice.
To just clear things up, it can neither confirm nor deny about Ted Lasso. If you want to go and see The Christmas Carol, that's going to be at this great theatre.
A Christmas Carol-ish.
Christmas Carol-ish.
Soho Place.
Soho Place, christmascarolish.com. If you want to see Mr. Swallow on tour in 2025, Show Pony, in which he talks about and dissects the BAFTA appearance on the roller skates.
Amongst other things.
Not just that. Not just that.
That for an hour and a half.
I want to come. Nick Mohammed, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Rob. Delight. Thank you.
Stronger handshake than you'd expect.